Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The important news and editorial that would be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 17th of July, the first important news, that is Center setups new panel to review all NSO data, something directly relevant when it comes to the part of economic forecast and its growth. Second, that is Center not to consider lightning as a natural disaster. There will be some tweaks on the part of the allocations, because when it comes to natural disaster for a specific state, government allocates certain amount as a grant. But in the point and considering the fact with the lightning, the government is not looking to consider it as a natural calamity. Third, that is India to launch project on tax and financial crime investigation. We'll see the detail about that. Second last, that is panel recommended medical review for Kuno's cheetah. That was basically there from Nambia. Some of the death was reported. So the panel has recommended for a medical review. And the last is an editorial aiming for equality. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming examination. So without any further ado, let's get started. And if you're new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do hit that like button. Starting the session with the first news, that is Center to set up all new panel to review all NSO data, something important for General Studies Paper 2. Precisely, this is relevant for General Studies Paper 2. That is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementation. Even to a larger extent, you can relate this topic to General Studies Paper 3 as well, where Indian economy's topics are mentioned. So the Union government has constituted a new internal oversight mechanism for official data and revamping the part of the Standing Committee on Economic Statistics, right? So this was actually set up in late 2019. Now the government has come up with the overhaul, and a new thing and a new committee has actually been set up, which is named as the Standing Committee on Statistics, right? So this was in the context that the Ministry of Statistics has come up with the detailed part that to consider the part of economic indicators, we need a dedicated body which should consider the fact that the economic indicators which is forecasting post COVID-19 and the growth which is there should be there by an expert committee, right? So the broader mandate and framework has been given into consideration that will take into consideration for all survey that is conducted under the aegis of NSO, that is National Statistical Office, right? So one question that is again important apart from civil services prelims examination, if you are preparing for any government examination, there can be question asking you about the former chairman or the present panel who is heading it, right? So Prabodh Singh is the former chairman of the National Statistical Commission, has been renamed as a panel, the new panel that is named as Standing Committee on Statistics, right? So something factually directly relevant for the examination. Now Standing Committee on Statistics, अगर इसकी बात करें क्या क्या रेफरेंस दी गई है, what is a TOR, what is a mandate. So this committee will aims to enhance the part of terms of reference vis-a-vis SCES that aims to ensure coverage, and it will have 10 officials member और 4 non-official members भी appoint किए जाएंगे who would be from the different field in their academic excellence would be taken into consideration. Now it can also have a 16 member as per the order issued by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, better known as MOSPI. Now what is the intention behind the move? Government ने इस move के पीछे government की what is the intention, and even to a larger extent you need to understand the fact that why government is coming at this point of time, right? So the development of the Standing Committee on Statistics comes amid the sharp critique from the Indian statistical machinery, which has actually said कि कई ऐसे expert लोगों की ज़रूरत है इस कमेटी में, तो basically that can come into part and जो economic forecast है, जो NSO के data है, उनकी पूरी तरह से analysis हो सके. And even the recommendations were given by the Economic Advisory Council के जो chairman हैं, Vivek Deborah, he has also given the recommendations. So some name is important, although I don't insist you to remember the name of any special committees or as the members, but to some committees you should know, and if you quote in the civil services mains examination, this will be a point of added advantage, right? So he mooted that the overall of the system contended that Indian Statistical Services has little expertise in the survey designing. The reason being they're coming with a specific committee which will be named as a Standing Committee on Statistics, which will be giving the part of complete details. Now, some brief about the National Statistical Organization. अगर NSO की बात करें, कई बार UPSC ने prelims में NSO के बारे में basics questions भी पूछे हुए हैं. So it become important for you to know about the NSO. This is an office, it's an agency which is responsible for collecting, compiling, analyzing, disseminating the part of official data. And NSO plays an important role in providing the accurate and reliable statistical informations, policy formulation and monitoring of the country progress. And it acts as a nodal body under the Ministry of Statistical and Program Implementations for planning and development of the statistical system in the country. Now, moving ahead, center not to consider lightning as a natural disaster, something important for general studies, paper 1 precisely, where important geophysical phenomena such as earthquake, tsunami, volcanic activities are concerned. And even if you see, this is also important for general studies paper 2, because there is a relation where government part is involved, right? So the Union government is not in a favor for declaring lightning as a natural disaster, and because the cases of death that has been reported due to lightning will not be taken into consideration, right? So the Indian states have recently demanded that lightning should be considered as a natural disaster. कई ऐसे states हैं, specifically बिहार और वेस्ट बंगाल की अगर बात करें, इन states ने recommendations दी थी central government को and said that lightning should be considered as a natural disaster, right? And India is among the 5 countries that would be an early warning system and forecast the availability for 5 days to 3 hours, right? So we are on that league and we have such advanced system that we can even forecast the light. And more about the fund allocation which is given under the disaster. So at present, there are some list of the natural disaster which is considered and taken into consideration for the part of allocation of the fund. So that include cyclone, drought, earthquake, fires, flood, tsunami, hailstorm, landslide, avalanches, cloudburst, pest attack, frost, cold wave. These are considered as a natural calamity or natural disaster, and against which the central government allocates some fund, and even the state are authorized to take some fund under the state disaster response fund, which are known as SDRF. तो 75% funding भी होती है central government की तरफ से. Now lightning prevalence is more at night and early hours in the hilly areas and more during the day in the plain areas. Now death cases due to lightning, क्या क्या reports हैं, numbers क्या हैं. अगर बात करें बिहार की, the Bihar disaster management, the minister has actually said that the vulnerability among all states, Bihar has the top in the ranking. 107 death report की गई हैं till July 6. And in the past year, there has been spurt deaths due to lightning. It is responsible for the part where some of the reasons are there because of the climate change. We have also seen such. And in the past 5 years, more than 1,500 people have lost life in Bihar, right? As of June 2020, more than 100 people died in a single day after a struck was there. And the National Crime Record Bureau has said that 2,880 people died in lightning and strike due to 2021. India to launch project on tax and financial crime investigation, something important for general studies paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So recently there was a high-level meeting which was addressed by the finance minister, and the meeting is named as G20 High-Level Symposium to Combat Tax Evasion, Corruptions, Money Laundering. The finance minister has categorically noted and said that we need to strengthen the part of global architecture जहाँ पे जो financial crimes हैं, money laundering जैसे issues हैं उनको address किया जा सके, and specifically in the present context the cryptocurrency has become a big issue of debate and concern for the government of India. Now with the advancement of technology, अगर बात करें international trade और commerce की, criminals have started utilizing sophisticated measures for the fund transfer, including the part of multi-layered transaction involving the assets which is there at financial assets, crypto assets, and real estates. So the tax of the financial crime investigations की बात की गई है under the G20 presidency, which India is currently holding a G20 presidency till November 2023. The finance minister has said that building capacity and the finance criminal investigations in the South Asian region is very important, and this should be done in collaborations with the OECD, right? And India has decided to launch a pilot on tax crime investigations collaborating the OECD, beginning with the regional campus at the National Academy of Direct Taxes. Observing that G20 has helped the spearhead numbers reform and the global tax, anti-corruptions, anti-money laundering architecture should be taken into consideration. Now, initiatives की अगर बात करें, इंडिया ने G20 के अंदर ऐसे कौन कौन से initiatives लिए हैं that has actually helped to curb the part of global taxation and fraud. So India has helped number of ways where global tax, anti-corruptions, anti-money laundering के जो measures हैं वो लिए गए हैं with a jurisdiction adopting with a part of holistic approach in the financial crime. और G20 members की बात करें, it's an important vertical where all member state has helped India to overcome these challenges. It's not only confining to India, but it's a global problem. In addition to that, increasing the cooperations between the law enforcement agencies, enhancing their capabilities is something that has helped. In this context, the progress towards the development of crypto assets, reporting the part of framework and updating the global reporting standing system is a welcome step. Now moving ahead, that is panel recommended medical review for Kuno's Cheetah, something important for general studies paper 3, that is conservation, environmental pollutions, degradation and EIA. So there was some death of the cheetahs that were reported. 2 cheetahs were reported from Kuno National Park. They have death because of some of the health reason. The reason being the government has come up with the advisory committee और इसके लिए कुछ recommendations दी हैं committee ने so that the part of the health of the cheetahs are taken into consideration और medical और physical review की बात की गई है. This involve recalling the animal that is released into the part और radio callers के साथ उनको release की गई थी while basically the area on the forest, but the national park has witnessed that the death was due to some infection and other causes, right? So fertility cases की अगर बात करें, the latest facility, the cheetah named Shaurya has died due to a wound, and that was because of the infection that is there in the neck band. So this is the neck band which is visible in this image, and this was supposed to cause infection which has created maggots, and these maggots were found even in the collar of the infected, right? So saliva we found की गई है, maggots are like parts of the infection which actually make things more severe, right? So the collar used for the polystyrene are the much lighter today as compared to the one which was there in the early. So this can also be the reason the maggot virus, or you can say the animal, the part which is there, will be the possible reason for the death. But still confirmation नहीं हुई है, so we cannot figure it out. So what is the government measure? Ministry of Environment Forest ने अपने reports में कहा है that radio collars is something that was actually there from Namibia itself. जो नाम्बिया से जितने चीतास को इंडिया लाई गई है उनमें सारे already पहले से fixed है. And the radio collar fitted with the animal is there, and the part they have analyzed that laboratory will examine that whether parasite, bacteria or virus infection was there. So it is subject to post clarifications. And the emphasis was there that animal death so far has attributed to the natural causes. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, aiming for the equality. Government, this is something important for General Studies paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. So moving ahead with this part, just to tell you the part that what I'll be discussing in this editorial. So first we'll move ahead with the part of the theme, that is diversifying the CSR spending. We'll see the part of the CSR, how it should be spent. Issues with the CSR funding, the local preference which should be there. Overhauling the localized system, aligning the CSR program with government policies and the way forward. So there was a latest report by the RBI जो कि currency और finance recommendations के ऊपर बात की गई थी, even mitigating the part of the India's to achieve the target for net zero emissions was also into consideration. But the major part of this report gives the suggestions on the part of CSR spending which is there by the companies जिनके net profit बेसिकली कुछ असाइंड अमाउंट से ज़्यादा होती है. द इम्प्लीमेंटेशंस ऑफ द कमिटी विल रिक्वायर सिर्फ द इकोसिस्टम एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द CSR फंडिंग, राइट. नेट प्रॉफिट इज लाइक 500 करोड़ रुपीज से ऊपर जो भी प्रॉफिट्स हैं उनको स्पेंड करनी होती है. Now, the issues with CSR funding, Section 135 of Companies Act ये कहती है that the preference should be given to the CSR funding that is operating in the nearby area, right? और इस फंडिंग से जो सोशल इश्यूज हैं उनको बहुत हद तक बेसिकली जो स्पेंडिंग हुई है वो इंडस्ट्रियलाइज एरिया के आसपास ही हुई है. दे हैव नॉट बीन बिकॉज कंपनीज फील दैट अपने प्रॉक्सिमिटी एरिया में वो स्पेंडिंग करेंगे, राइट. एंड इवन 10 states have received 80% and all funding. In 2021, Ministry of Corporate Affairs has clarified that the local area is not in mandatory. CSR की फंडिंग किसी भी उस स्टेट के उस रीजन में की जा सकती है. It should not be confined to local only. Now, local preference की वजह से कुछ specific area की development हो पाई है. This is something which has emerged because even out of the company's interest, or local funding has created the part of leverage on their region, utilizing the existing relationship with a greater influence over the staff visit and monitoring. In turn, this allows the corporate to obtain license to operate through the greater goodwill, influence, D-drive, and even the local factor for the communities. Now, this license to operate with a strong impetus have a preference in the local areas as well. So only confining the development in the local areas where company is set up is something which is not advisable, because फिर जो growth है that will be not in a broader sense, the growth will go in a vertical way. Now, overcoming this localized challenge, क्या ऐसे alternative हो सकते हैं जो localized challenge को overcome करें? There should be have a strong preference that the regulatory measures need to be changed. See, until unless government come up with the rule, this company will not able to fall. तो गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से रेगुलेटरी मेजर्स लाने की जरूरत है और उस एम्बिट को बढ़ाने की जरूरत है. एक्सेसिंग द पार्ट ऑफ डाइवर्सिफिकेशन इज अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट. ग्रास रूट नॉन प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ऑफन लैक द शोकेस, तो उनको भी नेशनल लेवल पे एक बेसिकली फंड की फॉर्मेशंस में वो हेल्प कर सकते हैं, सो दैट द पार्ट ऑफ द नेशनल रिकॉग्निशन टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन. अचीविंग इक्विटेबल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एंड CSR funding will require both regulatory shift and changes. This will enable companies to fund trust, profit social enterprises and booking the partners, right? And aligning the CSR initiative with government is something that will help in the aspirational district program. This will adopt in the convergence with the part of the states, fostering the collaborations, state, national governments and entities. Participating such as win-win situations एक meaningful help होगी ताकि local governance को promote किया जा सके, streamlining the administration, undertaking the impact of the vulnerable districts. वे फॉरवर्ड की अगर बात करें, इंडिपेंडेंट पार्टनरशिप शुड बी देयर विद द लोकल नॉन गवर्नमेंट प्रॉफिट ऑपरेटर्स. जो ऑपरेटर्स मोडस ऑपरेंडी है CSR फंक्शनिंग की, उसे चेंज करने की जरूरत है, सो दैट देयर शुड बी अ होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट अराउंड द एरिया, राइट. इट इज क्रिटिकल फॉर कोलैबोरेशंस एंड ऑटोनॉमी विद द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन प्रोवाइडिंग अकाउंटेबिलिटी एंड फंड. And the corporations should be true nationals in realizing the environmental social goal, establishing the partnership with most diverse set of non-profit and local government. So this is how the things can be put in place to have a broader perspective and holistic development. Now moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the MCQ questions के जो answers हैं. For first question the correct answer is A. For second question the correct answer is B. Today's MCQ for practice, personality rights के बारे में आपको बताना है. It's right for person to protect his right to privacy in property. The right to privacy does not have a personal representation public without permission. So do check out for the correct option. Second is PM Daksh program. Consider the following statement. It is under the Ministry of Home Affairs. It's a national plan for skilling marginalized for SC, OBC, sanitation and the part of the workers. So do check out for the correct option. Practicing a lot more current affairs question will give you an edge over the examination. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis. If you have any other concern and inquiry about the courses, admissions, test series, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.